Miss Pickerskill here for our Tuesdays reading session on our book Guardians of the Planet. We are going to look today at our pages about going veggie and in the bin, what is in the bin. So let's have a look. I hope that you managed to have a think about how you might be able to grow your own stuff in your garden, and again how you can create your own compost as well. So let's have a look at going veggie. So vegetarians are people who do not eat anything involving the death of creatures, including foods or ingredients made from animal parts such as gelatin. Vegans consume no animal products whatsoever, so no cheese, animal milk, or honey. Even if turning totally veggie isn't for you, you can still make a difference by eating less meat. Meat no more. People give up eating animal products for a number of reasons, including their religious faith or concerns about animal welfare. Many turn veggie or eat less meat because of how its production affects the environment. Some 56 billion animals are killed for meat every year. When alive, they use up a huge amount of the Earth's resources. According to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, a typical American meat eater diet requires 17 times more land, 14 times more water, and 10 times more energy than a vegetarian's, which is massive. And we did discuss this, didn't we? When we were looking at, if I just have a quick flick through, there it was, wonder if we can, yeah, I bet we can. Yeah, that food waste fighter, he was saying how much energy farms consume, and actually how bad for the environment they can be, and it includes the animals there, the cows and other animals. So the amount of calories in the food eaten by the world's cattle could feed up to 8.7 billion people, more than the world's human population. Around 75% of all soya grown, for instance, is used to feed livestock, a crop which could be turned into food for people. It makes more water to produce. It takes more water to produce meat than it does vegetables. Around 287 litres are needed to produce 1 kilogram of potatoes, but 15,400 litres to produce 1 kilogram of beef. A 2018 Oxford University study found that 83% of all farming land is used for rearing animals, which is massive. Yet they produce only 18% of the world's food calories eaten by people. So there's a lot going into it to make it and not much coming out of it. So it doesn't look like it's very good for our ecosystem. Try it out. Veggie food can be just as exciting, nutritious, and varied as many meals. You probably eat some meat-free meals already. Whether it is a tasty margarita pizza or a baked potato with beans, here are some further ideas for how you can reduce your meat consumption and enjoy some tasty, healthy meals. Now, I know that I've had a discussion with Kian and Maisie, and they are vegetarians, and we've had lots of discussions because I'm not a vegetarian, but I do make a conscious effort of trying not to eat meat every day, and we've been talking about different types of Quorn that you can have: Quorn mince, Quorn chicken chunks, you can have Quorn burgers, Quorn sausages. It's endless. And we were also talking about the substitutes that you can make in your sandwiches, because I said to them, what do you usually have? And they usually have either jam and peanut butter or one of the other, which again is really good for energy, completely vegetarian, so you're not using any meat there. And they've told me about all these brilliant recipes that their mum and dad do with meat-free ingredients, which is great. So maybe we can get some tips from them. So these are the different things you could do. Ask your parents to try some meat-free alternatives, such as vegetable burgers or soya chunks. And I've found these lovely burgers in Tesco, I think it was, sweet potato burgers, which are really nice in a bread bun with chips. So then that's meat-free and it tastes absolutely delicious. Organise meat-free Mondays where you and your family go veggie for the day. Large portobello mushrooms, so they're the big mushrooms, grilled or roasted with slices of beetroot, tomato and cheese, make a delicious hot sandwich. Take meat-free packed lunches to school, replacing ham in a sandwich with cheese or falafel, which is a bit like, quite a lot of you I bet will have had falafel, but it's a bit like a nutty mixture that's fried or grilled. It's delicious. Swap pieces of chicken or pork for mushrooms, courgette chunks, and cashew nuts, and stir fry it with noodles. So you can see the different substitutes there, and I've spoken to Maisie and Kian, and they sort of do a similar thing with peanut butter and jam. So there are other alternatives. I've seen a lot of people with chocolate spread. Now, I'm not saying that that's the healthiest thing, but it is vegetarian. So that's another alternative. But don't tell your parents that I'm encouraging you to have chocolate on your bread. All right. So think about what other alternatives that you can have on your sandwiches. So in the bin. It's not just what you eat that matters. Every time you throw out an overripe melon or a brown banana, you are playing a tiny part in the surprisingly big issue. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations estimates that a third of all food produced in the world for people is never eaten. Oh my gosh, that's dreadful. This enormous loss is equal to more than 3.5 million tons of food every day of the year. Oh my gosh. And for those older children, try and think about how much that is a year. If there's 3.5 million tons of food every day, how many will that be a year? As much as 10 times more food is wasted per person in developed nations than in the developing world. The food, so that means sort of when it means that the developed nations, that they're a nation with usually a lot more wealthier, they like us and America, and they have more resources. So we're saying that we we waste more food than other countries that are developing countries. So places like Malaysia, the Philippines, parts of Africa, and parts of India. So they're countries where they are developing, their economy is still developing and their resources are still developing, and they use less waste than we do. The food waste in Europe alone can feed as many as 200 million people, and there are additional wasted resources, as all this uneaten food has to be disposed of. So when you throw it away, we need to use energy to then try and do something with it. In the UK, 18 million tons of wasted food, the weight of 54 Empire State Buildings, is thrown into landfills, which is dreadful. And I know that sort of restaurants now have started up a scheme where any of their food either goes to food banks or homeless charities where they can at least do something with it. And I know that Tesco and other supermarkets started to do the same thing, because a lot of their food was just being thrown out when it was out of the sell-by date, which was just heartbreaking, really. So let's have a look. So what foods are wasted and never eaten every day of the year? So we've got here 45% of all fruit and veg. Oh my gosh, nearly half of fruit and veg that's thrown away. 35% of all fish and seafood. Now, I bet a lot of people are throwing that away because they're worried that it might not be, it might go off. They're worried that they can't eat it. What I tried to do is, I noticed it probably about 5 years ago now, that when I was buying in the fruit and vegetables, and that was the one in my house that was wasted the most. And I was finding that I was wasting it because I didn't know really what to do with it. And then I forget about it and then buy other meals and then think, oh gosh, it's not looking great, I need to throw it away. And then I started to do a meal plan. So before I went food shopping, I'd do my meal plan, the meals that I want in the week, and then I'd buy specifically for them. And I have to say, my food waste has cut down massively since then, because I've not wasted any food because I know what ingredients needs to go in what meal. So that's really helped me. Hungry for a change. A good way to reduce waste is to think of food as you would any other product. The best course of action is to not overbuy or cook too much. Storing food well, such as putting cereals and biscuits in airtight containers, keeps them fresh for longer. Leftovers. Using excess food from an earlier meal is a great guardian way to eat. You have already used ingredients, time, and energy when making a meal, so it's smart thinking to reuse these foods and turn them into something equally delicious. Set yourself a challenge of taking part in leftover meal once a week with your family. There are some ideas down the side of this page to help you get started. Let's have a look. Right, so we're saying old potatoes can be mashed up, then fried with chopped onions, sliced cabbage and herbs to make potato cakes. Oh, delicious. Potatoes are actually ones that they're probably the most vegetable that I do leave, because when I buy like smaller potatoes, they come in a big bag and I don't need that many. So I have to say I'm a bit guilty for wasting those. Not quite fresh bread can be grilled with tomato puree, veggies and cheese to make an easy pizza. Overripe bananas can be peeled, placed inside freezer bags and frozen to be used at a later date for smoothies. Delicious. Said again here for the wasting, 30% of cereal crops such as wheat and corn are wasted, 20% of meat and 20% of dairy products. It's unbelievable the amount of food that's wasted. I'm just reading the labels there that are down on those pictures that you can see. That's unreal, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it's absolutely dreadful. Makes me think I need to do more now. Yeah, a lot to think about there, everyone. The first thing is, going back to that first 2 pages, is having to think about whether maybe you don't eat as much meat as you think you do. Are your family making an effort to try and go meat free? Are you already meat free because of your religion? Have you got any tips that you can give us as to what other foods we can eat when we're going veggie? And then in the bin, my gosh, we all must be guilty of this then, because it says that we waste 18 million tons of food, so it must include all of us for that. Is there anything that you've thrown away recently you think, oh gosh, I shouldn't have done that? And maybe have a look in your fridge now or tonight if you're watching this at school. And is there anything that possibly you think your mum and dad might throw away that you could use in a smoothie, or you could freeze, or you could try some of these recipes on here? So yeah, have a think. Now it leads really nicely onto our tomorrow's topic, which is our packaging problems. I think we're going to focus pretty much on that for tomorrow, and having a think about the packaging that's used. And you can see up there on the top, let me try and move my screen because you can't see it very well. There they've got the packaging of the tomatoes up there, and do you remember I said to you about my apples and the fact that they came in that big vat? To be honest, quite a similar packaging, and how we can avoid that. So it'll be quite interesting tying in with the waste that we produce, our food waste, as to what we can do for that. Can we cut down on any packaging and things? But anyway, that's something to discuss tomorrow. Right, well, have a lovely Tuesday. Please keep going with your home learning. I hope you're all taking care and keeping safe, and you're still enjoying these sessions, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Bye.